Bonjour, hi, on est au Quebec ici, and welcome back to the Maple Show. Before we start, I'd like to give a quick shout out to Meek Mill for coming out as gay. I think it's the right step we're taking in the industry. There's not a lot of gay rappers out there. Lil Nas X, and now Meek Mill. For those who don't know, there's this lawsuit against Diddy for sexual assault or sexual harassment or something, and in the lawsuit it names all the people who got assaulted, and one of them says, you know, a rapper that dated Nicki Minaj. So now Instagram and everyone online are going crazy saying that Meek Mill, you know, he's the newest homosexual on the block. And this comes right out as he drops his newest EP, Heathenisms. Pretty good EP. I just wished he talked more about, you know, sucking Diddy's dick. I think that's how he would open an entirely new branch of audience that hasn't been seen. If you could get all the trans people in the world listening to Meek Mill because he's gay now, I think he would make so much more money. Even as an independent now, he's, you know, his numbers aren't probably doing as well because he doesn't have a label. He's being, whatever, blackballed. Shout out to Ye. But if you embrace the full gay, you'll become like Lil Nas X. He was an industry plant, got the biggest song ever. And I think Meek Mill could do the same thing. Meek, you gotta stop denying it. He's going all over Instagram. I'm not gay, you know. Just accept it. You're not gonna beat the allegations. So I think it's pretty funny. I think that first of all, he should stop ordering dildos off Amazon. I think that, number one, that's the thing he should be doing. If you want to stop people from thinking you're gay, maybe stop doing gay things. But, you know, I'm not in the industry. I don't know how rappers work, but it seems like there's a general trend around Hollywood, around the rap scene, music, politicians, that either they have sex with kids or they have sex with other men. If you're not gay, you're not going to get the label deal. And I think Meek is the perfect encapsulation of that. He leaves his label deal, he goes independent, and now he's gay. Now it's open that he's gay, right? So if I was in his position and I wanted to become, you know, famous, which I do, me personally, I wouldn't suck Diddy's dick, but if they gave me 50 bucks and a label deal, maybe I would. Maybe, I don't know. I'm not in that position, but maybe I would. Maybe I would go on the plane, I'd go on the island, and I'd chill out with Stephen Hawking for a little bit. It's fun. I think that Meek Mill, he's had a good career, and I think his career is going to go even better, and it can go in a completely new direction. When Joe Biden dies, I think Meek Mill can take over. I think that's how it should work. I think that, yeah, Meek and Lil Nas X, they should do a little collab album. It would break the internet. You get a few features from Lizzo, and then you just have the worst people ever. Diddy, Lizzo, you know, that whole thing about her assaulting all those dancers just went away, right? I don't know what happened, but I think George Soros definitely got involved. But yeah, so congrats on Meek Mill. Just embrace it. Just embrace. That's my advice to you. Embrace the gayness, and I think it'll open up the whole new avenue of audience, and you'll make more money. Just pretend you're gay, or don't even pretend. Just say you're gay. You know, because we all know, you know, what's going on. You know, Diddy's gotta take some, and then you gotta take some, like, in the back. Like, it's gonna work out. So, yeah. Shout out to Meek. Anyways, first topic today is straight out of Quebec, as you know. François Legault, he's up to more good stuff. He's up to some great stuff. His new proposition wants to make all appliances in the province of Quebec have French writing on them. Because the language is in such decline that when I open my stove and it says open instead of ouvert, this is causing the collapse of the French language. You're the problem. And now people are saying, oh, the prices are going to go up because they got to make it in French. It's like 3 stickers. First of all, who cares? It's 3 stickers on an oven, on a toaster. Instead of saying low, medium, high, it's going to say like bas, medium, and haut. It's not that big of a difference. But truly, I think this is the only way we can solve the French crisis in Quebec. There's not enough French speakers in Quebec. All these new migrants coming in, just because they're required to speak French doesn't mean they will. That's the problem. François Legault, he came up with this new genius idea. He's on another plane of existence. This is how smart he is. He's not even in this dimension. He went to the Amazon forest, he did a few rituals, took some ayahuasca, and it opened his mind up. And this is what came out of it. Appliances in the province need to be all in French. Large German, Japanese, multinational corporations, which make appliances all around the world, have to obey to Quebec's laws because we're such a big market that they cannot survive without applying to these rules. It's a pretty good law. I think that as a Quebecer, when I see open on an appliance, it just punches out the French of me, right? I can't even speak French anymore because for too long I've been using a toaster that's been saying defrost. It's really bad for the language. You don't get it, okay? All these people saying, oh, it's gonna raise prices, it's gonna hurt the community. Honestly, both sides of this are just really smart, okay? I think that if you look at a distribution of intelligence, on one side, you got the super genius François Legault thinking about this stuff. And on the other side, you've got, your Anglophones who are saying, this is going to kill us. No, it isn't. And the French language isn't going to decline. But kudos to François Legault for doing something. There's not enough people doing stuff. We don't care anymore, and that's the problem. People need to start giving more shits. But hey, here's the thing about Quebec, right? French, this whole thing of French and the government, it's really funny because anywhere else in Canada or in the world, you could say these racist things and everyone would call you a bigot. But in Quebec here, all you gotta say is it's about the French language and people, they'll be okay with it. You go, I don't want Muslims wearing hijabs in the government or in the schools. People will be like, what the fuck are you talking about? But then you go, no more hijabs because the French language is dying. And they'll go, yeah! You'll have these boomers in like Saguenay-Lac-Saint-Jean and they'll go, yeah, these Muslims, right? So this French, I think that in Quebec, by having this French clause, just make everything about French and the French language, and you just keep repeating that the French language is dying, when clearly it is. I think French speakers in Quebec have gone down 2% over the last 10 years. The language is dying. They're dying. Right? I think that he needs to go, François Legault and Quebecers need to move further towards protecting the French language, right? Because there are too many Anglophones in whatever, Abitibi-Témiscamingue. There are too many Anglophones. It's fun, I really like the rhetoric. It's great. You can say literally the most racist thing ever, and they'll cheer for you. Oh, there's too many immigrants coming in. What the fuck? You're a racist piece of shit. And then you go, no, because the French language is dying. And they'll go, yes. And it's basically only the boomers talking about this. Young people don't care. That's the problem. Young people don't give a shit if the French language is dying, and we gotta change that. You know, from elementary all the way, I think it should only be French. There shouldn't be the option to speak English. Because in Canada, as a bilingual country, French is being oppressed. You're telling me they're speaking French in Alberta? No, there's like 2 people. First of all, there's 2 people who live in Alberta, and they both drill for oil. And secondly, they're both Anglophones. And that's the issue. French is being oppressed. The French people are being oppressed in Canada. You want to speak French in Manitoba? You go straight to prison. That's what's happening. They put you in camps to learn English. It's called the school system, okay? So we got to expand the French. We got to keep Quebec as the French stronghold of Canada and then expand it. But yeah, you know, it's all these boomers who are talking about, le déclin de la langue française. No, it is. The French language isn't declining. It's like stagnant, right? But yes, you know what? I see their point. I think that old French people who are very stubborn, like all boomers are, they just hate the youth and they want to see everything cater to them. So that ultimately in 40 years when they all die, everything collapses. The entire economic system collapses once the boomers die. Because now, everyone's speaking French, no one's speaking English, and no businesses want to come to Quebec because your entire French base is just gone. All these boomers are really, I think these boomers, their one goal in life is to just fuck everyone off. Like, they want to destroy everyone. And you know, why shouldn't they? We fucked up, guys. The planet is gone. Everything's is over. There are too many migrants coming to the province. Right. Is that racist? Did he just say a racist? Because the French language is dying. Okay, he's fine. He's fine, guys. But anyways, really, speaking of Quebec, more things that François Legault is doing that everyone loves. The third lien, le troisième lien. What is that? For people outside of the province, they really don't give a shit. No one cares about this. Basically, it's this tunnel. They want to build this tunnel under the water between, like, 2 places in Quebec that are, it's like a 12-kilometer tunnel. But somehow it's going to cost, like, I don't know, $10 billion. And looking at Quebec's track record for public infrastructure projects, I think this will work out great. Why shouldn't we spend more money? Public transit is something that everyone wants to take. Me personally, I love going on it. You will not get harassed by homeless people on the public transit. Because everyone who takes public transit are rich people, right? They're rich people who really care about the environment. Wrong. Okay, you think your rich white mom in Westmount is gonna take public transit? You think they're gonna take the REM? No, they're not gonna take the REM. First of all, this REM thing, it's a disaster. No one's taking it, no one's taking it. And the people who are taking it, they're getting stranded on it. It's just breaking down. The REM is basically this new massive infrastructure project that they've been building for the past like 5 years in Quebec. It's like a train. It's basically an above ground train that they just built that's completely electric. But who would have guessed that this thing is a massive piece of shit? You know, we've only spent $8 billion on it. We can spend more. There are new trains that are supposed to be super high tech, run all electric. Turns out when it's really cold in the winter, the doors don't work. The trains don't work. Nothing is working. I think we should just scrap it, demolish the whole thing at, you know, another $1 billion cost, and let's just build more highways. Because people don't like public transit. You know what they like? They like driving around in your Ford Mustang. That's what people like, and not the electric one, okay? People don't like the electric cars. But yeah, the public transit system, it's absolutely abysmal. And yet, it's better than New York somehow. At least you're not going to get beat up on one of our buses. Unlike New York, because they're just people dancing around. They're doing crack just straight on the subway. And I think either we got to bring that here, or we just got to demolish the whole thing and we just go full car. I think full car is the way to go. Stop caring about the environment. We're too far gone on the environment. But yeah, large, massive infrastructure projects, which cost taxpayers billions and billions of dollars, is it's the most important thing we've got to do in the province and throughout Canada. I think that the more infrastructure we build, the more people are going to use it, right? Right? No, because if your goal is to bring people upwards in the economic ladder, right? Ideally, people are going to stop taking this and they're just going to buy cars. So the only people who are going to take these public transits are either broke college students, like me, right? And that's basically the only people, or like minorities. Poor minorities who came to this country like 5 weeks ago. That's basically the only people who are using it, and they end up like assault. This is why all the bus drivers hate everyone, is because you keep harassing these bus drivers, and at some point they're gonna snap, and they're gonna crash these buses off a bridge. It's just what's gonna happen. If you keep getting on the bus, drunk out of your mind, 9 a.m. on a Monday, and you start like screaming at people and dancing and lying on the floor, it's gonna happen where the bus drivers are gonna run the bus into another car in the middle of the freeway and kill everyone. You're gonna make them snap. We have to be more respectful to these people because they're gonna kill us all. That's what's gonna happen. Oh, but I don't take the bus, I'll be fine. What happens when you're driving to your 9 to 5 and a bus crosses in the middle of a 4-lane highway and T-bones your Prius? What's gonna happen then? Are you gonna say, oh, but I don't care because I don't take the bus? Either everyone's gotta go in full public transit. We gotta make more 15-minute walkable cities. Yeah, it's called downtown, and everyone who lives downtown is scared of getting stabbed. That's the reality of the situation. These 15-minute walkable cities, they don't work. People like their cars. People don't like talking to each other. And people especially don't like talking to poor people. The homeless are getting out of control. I don't want to walk around because, you know, Montreal is such a haven of tourism and it's such a haven of culture. Yeah, you got some homeless French lady who's screaming at you, smoking a cigarette, a pack of off-brand Marlboros, and she's screaming at you saying how immigration is ruining the country. That's just the reality. And then you see people like dealing fentanyl on the street. It's great. Society is moving in the great direction. But truly, as a Quebecer, I think it's your right to scream at minimum wage employees if they don't know the language. I want to be able to scream at a woman who just got off the boat from India a month ago at a Walmart for not knowing how to speak French. That's what I want to be able to do. I want to go in French, you should go back to your country, right? And not because I'm racist, but because it's about French. Anyways, the Canadian government is now bypassing Quebec's family reunification cap. So basically, turns out having too many migrants is an issue. I said this last episode, but right now the federal government, JT, my main man, JT, what he's saying is that fuck you to Quebec. You're capping reunification of families to 10K a year. There's too many of them. You gotta double it. That's what they're doing. They're saying, we don't care about your cap. we're just gonna let them in. Screw you. Cry about it, you little bitch. JT's calling Premier François Legault a little bitch in this situation. And I think this is why we need more guns. Because these guns would have stopped the tyranny of the federal government. But yeah, basically, if you come here as a migrant, you can't really take your entire family because your family has no skills. Your family can't Fortnite crank 90s on people, but you can. You graduated, you're in whatever country, you're in Hong Kong, right? And you got a PhD in like brain surgery, and you can speak French? Oh my God, François Legault is creaming to have you here. He wants you here so bad. But then only you can come here because your entire family, they can't do anything. They're just a waste. Your family is useless. Leave your family and come to the greatest province in all of Canada, Quebec. But yeah, basically, now you have all these like single migrants who came in who are, they're the good immigrants, according to the government. Because the government's got good immigrants and bad immigrants, right? Your good immigrants are your university degree holding immigrants who speak French. I honestly don't think the government cares about any of it unless you speak French. You could be like a domestic terrorist in Sudan and the Quebec government will be like, oh, you speak French? Come, we'll give you a job. We'll give you everything. And then, it's someone, and then a mosque gets shot up. I don't know what happened. But you speak French, it's a golden ticket. Quebec is the special province because of the French language. So yeah, now you have all these single migrants that are here who are providing a lot to the economy. And now they're like, hey, maybe I want my family with me. Maybe I want my wife and my 5 kids with me. I feel bad for abandoning them in some third world country where I came from. But the government's like, whoa, Nelly, okay, calm down. You can't see your wife because there are too many of you. So you can only have 10,000 of them come every year. But apparently, according to Canada, this is the biggest issue we're facing. Don't ask Justin Trudeau about the newest budget. Don't ask him about it. It won't be over $40 billion in deficit. Ask him about how much he cares about reunifying migrant families. Don't talk about the Aboriginals and the Indigenous rights. Stop talking about it. They don't need clean water. Native Americans in Quebec and in Canada don't need clean water. If your water's black, that's your problem. Don't blame the federal government who's in charge of all of this. We need more family. We need to bring all the family migrants to Quebec. I don't care if they don't speak French, but it's gonna kill the language. This whole debate is really dumb. Basically, let François Legault do whatever he wants. That's been the rhetoric for the past 50 years. Let Quebec do whatever they want. Stomp on a few human rights with the Charter of Rights and Freedoms of Canada. Let them step on it a little bit. Let them tiptoe on it. Piss on it a little bit. It's fine. Just let them do what they do because you don't want the French boomers to get angry. You get Francophone boomers against you? Ooh, liberals, you ain't winning next election. Already the Liberals aren't going to win the next election, but the Bloc Québécois coming for you. And I think the funniest thing out of all of this is how spiteful Quebecers are. We made our own party in the federal government, and we just vote for the party. It's called Le Bloc Québécois. It's a party that their entire goal isn't to win Prime Minister. It's to just fuck over whoever's in charge of the federal government and say, we need more Quebec rights. If every province did this, all of Canada would collapse. Canada's on the verge of collapse. I think Quebec needs to separate again because too many migrants are coming in. speaking of, you know, more of Quebec stuff, this is my favorite thing. Now, trans and non-binary people can put X on their driver's license and health insurance in the province. You can put their gender, you know, there's male, female, and now you can put X. And I know, you know how many trans and non-binary people there are in Quebec? 16,000. There are 16,000 people. This is their biggest issue. We've been oppressing trans and non-binary people for too long. Meek Mill, this is why we need you. You need to come to Quebec, do a concert at Pride Fest, okay? But basically, yeah, you know, it just also turns out that we have 16,000 Palestinian supporters. I'm kidding, I'm kidding. Don't get mad at me. But, yeah, basically, these people need to put X on their driver's license because I don't know why. You know, I'm not a trans person. You should call up, you know, Meek Mill. He would, you know, he would answer the question well. He'd know. But, yeah. You know how many people have taken advantage of it right now? 2. There are 2 people in the province of Quebec who have X on their driver's license or health insurance. So now, I really like this. I really like how I can go as a man. I'm not a man anymore. Right? It's coming out right now. I am now a trans woman. And as a trans woman, okay, I want to be able to go in the women's locker room for swimming and change with all the women. Ew, you're a pedophile. No, I'm X. You can't tell me what to do. This is what I want to see, okay? I want to see trans people start caring about the French language. I think François Legault's got to do this, right? Because he needs the power back. But I think he gives them this, and in return, you get the non-binary people going, yeah, we need more French in Quebec universities. McGill is too English. It just really happens that most liberals in the province are Anglophones. What? François, you gotta push harder on this. These people have been oppressed for too long. I don't care if these people are making, like, the biggest scene. If you're gonna be trans, why not be a chill trans person, right? Like, why you gotta make a whole deal out of it? You don't need breast implants that are so big it comes down to your hips. You don't need it. But yeah, basically, I don't know, we're a very progressive place. I feel very lucky to be in such a progressive country. This divergence between extreme, like, progressivism and, like, liberalism, and on the other side, you've got, like, the most conservative ideologies about, you know, French language. On one hand, you've got one of the most secular, which means, you know, separation of the church and state in Canada. You've got, you can't wear your cross. You can't wear your hijab. Like, you can't wear any religious symbols if you're teaching kids in the province. Which, yeah, it makes sense. But then at the same time, you can go, kid, 8-year-old kids, let me tell you something about gay sex. You should be able to transition. I want free sex changes for all new migrants coming in. Free sex changes for only the French migrants. If you're Anglophone, you don't get to be trans. You don't get to be trans. If you want that, go to California. I really, you know, you get your trans French people, and I think that's going to be the new voter base. Because once all the boomers go away, and you get enough kids to be trans, that's going to be the new voter base for la CAQ. It's going to work out well. But yeah, this is what we need. We need bigger infrastructure spending. And I think I think the REM, they should just put pride flags on everything. Just, you know, you walk in and it's just rainbows, and you've got your separate bathrooms for you bigots and then you liberals. I'm not saying all liberals want to change, all liberal men want to change with women in the bathrooms. But I'm just saying, if you're not French, get out. Get out of this country. Go back to where you came from. It's not racist. Guys, it sounds racist. It's not. They're just not speaking French, and that's the issue. You better go back to where you came from. Oh God, he just said a racist. Because you're killing the French language. And here's another thing that they really like to use. This thing called, the Quebec culture. It's all about the culture and the language. And these are just, these are just disguises for being blatantly racist. I think it's really good. I want to be able to scream at the Tim Hortons worker, the minimum wage Tim Horton worker. They can't even speak English, and you should be screaming at them. You should throw your ice cap at the Tim Hortons worker who got off a boat from Somalia last week for not speaking French. What do you mean you don't speak French? What is wrong with you? Why are you here? Get out. Get out. And I know the French people listening to this podcast are really they're clapping for me. They're like, yeah, finally someone who's got my views. And now you got all the trans people getting mad. But listen, trans people, non-binary, X. Listen, X, okay? They, them. I support you, but only if you speak French. If you don't speak French, get out. Get out. Go to British Columbia. Go have a party there. It's fine. This is what they want you to do. They want the trans French Quebecers. Go to the gay village. And if I see one English speaker, it'll be a hate crime. It'll be a hate crime because they speak English, not because they're gay. I don't care. If you're a pedophile, come here. If you speak French. I think we need to import all the terrorists, right? If we get all the terrorists from all the third world countries that speak French, I think it'll really add to the Quebec culture. More customs and more culture enforcement around the French language is what's needed. But yeah, you got the two main Quebec universities suing the government because apparently, because of this new French law, this Bill 96, basically what they do is they're forcing these English colleges to speak, to give French classes, right? And they're going, this is it doesn't make sense. First of all, if you're in Quebec, you should only speak French. I don't care if English is the most economically viable language, and not only the province, but all around, North America. I don't care. Quebec is the last safe, the last stronghold of the language, and we've got to protect it. We got to fight tooth and nail to protect it. I really love this rhetoric. It's got to be my favorite debate. This is the most important topic we could be possibly talking about. The French language and the decline. Not about how people can't afford to eat. Stop saying that. Stop saying that poverty is a bigger issue than the French language because you're just wrong. You're an idiot. Yeah, so this is why we got to protect the language, because you people are ruining it for the rest of us. Oh, Matthew, if you really care about this, if the French language, why don't you make your whole podcast and this whole video in French? Shut up. What if I told you that? Shut up. I know more French than most people. You don't need to hear me talk about it. Just believe me. This is why, you're the reason why the STM employees, the public transit employees, they're gonna kill us all. This is why if you're 1 minute late to the bus, they'll drive away and they'll see you. I've seen it happen. If you're walking to the bus and the bus is there 2 minutes early, they'll just leave. They're having a rough day. What are you talking? It's 7 a.m. on a Wednesday. And you're screaming at the STM employee because you didn't buy a bus pass? Leave! And you're screaming, hold on, you're screaming to them in English? You gotta be deported. You gotta be deported. In Quebec, we've got this thing called the French language police, basically. And these guys are basically, you know, they're like a militia group. And I really like it. It's like the CIA. Instead of torturing, you know, innocent journalists who critique the government, they attack like small businesses. Because in Quebec, what you have to do is if you have a store, you have to put up on the sign of the store, it's got to be either French bigger or the same size as the English writing. And a lot of big companies, they just get around this because they just use their brand name and that doesn't apply. But by God, by the graces of God, if you're a small mom and pop shop, okay, and you have English on your sign above the French one, holy hell, you're gonna see the wrath of François Legault. They're gonna shut you down. They keep passing these new laws about if you're a company that has more than 5 employees, all internal memos better be in French, or else the language police is gonna come and they're gonna shut you down. It's a modern day Gestapo, and I love it. I love it. I want to see more businesses get shut down because they're not following the French language. Oh, but I'm an immigrant from, you know, I just came from Ukraine. And I can't speak French. Too bad. Here's a $100,000 fine. You're done. Just declare bankruptcy. We're taking over. You should leave. Stop speaking English. Get out. Get out. But, yeah, basically, this is what's going to happen at some point, okay? At some point, you're going to have some English speaker, some English migrant, is going to talk badly to a bus driver, some French boomer, okay? And it's going to end badly. He's going to get so mad, he's going to drive a bus with like 50 people in it into some small mom and pop bakery that has English writing on it. What is that scribbling? That's not English or French. That's not French. What does this mean? And then he crashes the bus into it. Everyone dies. And then he's having the final laugh. He's like, yeah, I did this for my country. And a lot of these French boomers, they still believe that Quebec should be an independent, you know, an independent country. On est au Québec, is that? It's really great. I think that please be nice to the bus drivers, because when I'm going, it's 6 a.m. and I have to go to college to learn stuff that I don't care about. In English, mind you. You're gonna anger a bus driver and they're gonna kill someone. Someone's gonna die. I really want to see like a bus driver get out of their booth and just start like beating down because like 2 kids are having like an English conversation, right? What did you say? And there's just kids talking in English. And he just comes and gives them a beat down. Like a 50-year-old French dude who lives, I don't know, Côte Saint-Luc, right? There's too many migrants in my region and they're speaking English. I don't even know what they're saying. They should be speaking French. But yeah, the rhetoric is great. I really like this this French rhetoric, and I think that the more you push back, the more the French is gonna, you know, they're gonna attack you. Do not push back on this ideology. If you try, the language police is gonna come down knocking on your door, and you're going to prison. You're going to French prison, and you're gonna get deported. They won't deport you if you do a crime. No, they will not put you in prison if you kill someone. No, but if you kill someone and you say something in English, you're out. You're done. This is what they want, and I think this is what we need to move towards. You know, we need to move towards having more trans officers. You know, more trans police officers just beating up English speakers in public for no reason. This is what we need. And this is how we bring equality to the non-binary people, the Zers, people who've got X on there. You go to the doctor, okay, and you got X on your health insurance, and they go, and they're just waiting. They don't say anything. they wait for you to speak first. And oh my God, if you speak English, you're going to know what it means to be discriminated against. Because they will discriminate you. Oh, what? Oh, did you speak English? And they'll press, you know, they'll have a red button, right? They'll press it. And then you got the security guards, and they'll just beat you up. And then you'll claim, oh, it was a hate crime because, you know, because I'm trans. No, 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 no. No, no, no. We love trans people. But if you speak English, God, you're dead. You're going to prison. It's going to be a hate crime. It's going to get ugly. So if you really want to protect yourself and you're trans, right, and you're trying to leave somewhere for persecution because you're being oppressed too much, come to Quebec, but you better speak French. Anyways, that's a great episode for today. I think that we got through a lot. Meek Mill, if you do come to Quebec as a gay man, please speak French, because I'm fearful for your life, and I'm fearful for your entire business, because you're gonna get arrested at the border. That's what's gonna happen. The first time ever someone gets arrested at the border is because Meek Mill is trying to come to Canada for, you know, come to Quebec for Pride Fest in June, and he spoke English to one of the officers, and someone didn't like that. That call went straight to François Legault and said, it's not happening. Anyways, it's a great episode today. Tune in a little bit later for the finance episode, and we'll catch you next time. Thank you for listening.